That was the first thing the officers noticed when they pushed open the unlocked front door. The scent was wrong, warm and familiar, mixed with something sharp and metallic. The kitchen light was still on, a half-empty mug on the counter. A newspaper lay open to the crossword, pen resting on the page like someone had just stepped away. But the red streaks on the tile floor told a different story. They followed the trail into the living room, where Emily Carter lay on her back, eyes. Open blonde hair spread around her head like a broken halo. The stab wounds were precise. 2 to the chest, 1 to the abdomen. No defensive marks on her hands. She hadn't fought back. Detective Sarah Reyes crouched beside the body, gloved fingers hovering over the wounds. She knew him, she muttered. Let him get close. Across town, Dr. Daniel Mercer sat in his pristine BMW, hands gripping the wheel so tight his knuckles had turned white. His phone buzzed, again. A text from the hospital admin, asking where he was for his morning rounds. He didn't answer. He couldn't. His mind kept replaying the way Emily had looked at him in those last seconds. Not fear, not anger, just betrayal. He hadn't meant to hurt her. At least that's what he told himself. 6 months earlier, Emily Carter had walked into his office on a Tuesday, clutching her chest like she was afraid her heart might burst. It keeps happening, she said, voice thin, like something squeezing. Me from the inside. Daniel had seen cases like hers before, young, healthy women convinced they were dying. Usually it was stress, sometimes loneliness. He ran the tests anyway, listening to the steady rhythm of her heartbeat through his stethoscope. Everything sounds perfect, he said, smiling. She didn't smile back. Then why does it hurt? That was the moment he should have referred her to a therapist. But there was something about her, the way her fingers twisted in her lap, the slight tremor in her voice when she said she'd just gone through a divorce. She was fragile, and Daniel had always liked fixing broken things. He scheduled a follow-up, then another. At first, it was just coffee after appointments, then dinner, then his hand on hers across the table, lingering a second too long. You're different from my other patients, he murmured once. Emily had laughed, but her cheeks flushed. Is that a good thing? He didn't answer. He didn't have to. The text started small. How's your day? Thinking of you. Then they grew longer, more insistent. You didn't answer. Are you okay? Who were you with last night? Emily began to notice the way his fingers tightened around her wrist when he laughed, the way his smile didn't always reach his eyes. Once, when she mentioned an old college friend, male, Daniel's entire posture stiffened. You shouldn't trust people so easily, he said lightly. I'd hate to see you get hurt. She laughed it off, but that night, she Googled signs of controlling behavior and stared at the screen until her vision blurred. When she tried to pull back, canceling their next appointment, Daniel showed up at her apartment unannounced. I was worried, he said, holding up a bottle of wine. You've been distant. She let him in. That was her mistake. The night it happened, it was raining. Emily had just gotten home from work when the knock came. Daniel stood on her porch, soaked, his hair plastered to his forehead. We need to talk, he said. She should have called the cops right then. But part of her still pitied him, so she stepped aside. The argument started the second the door closed. You've been ignoring me, Daniel snapped. I just need space. After everything I've done for you? His voice cracked. I saved you. Emily's stomach dropped. I was never yours to save. Something in his face twisted. He grabbed her arm, fingers digging in hard enough to bruise. You don't get to walk away. She yanked free, stumbled back. Get out! Then the knife was in his hand. Later, the cops would ask why she didn't run. The truth? She never thought. He'd actually do it. The first stab knocked the breath from her lungs. The second sent her to the floor. Daniel stood over her, chest heaving. Then, like a switch flipping, his expression crumpled. Oh, God. He called 911 himself, too late. The trial lasted 3 weeks. Daniel's lawyers painted him as a devoted doctor, pushed to the edge by an unstable woman. They showed texts out of context where Emily had flirted, where she'd said she missed him. She led him on, they argued. She played with his emotions. But the prosecution had the knife, the security footage of him following her, the letter he'd sent threatening to ruin her if she left. The jury deliberated for 3 days. Guilty. Daniel sits in a prison visiting room, hands folded on the table. His once perfect hair is graying, his skin sallow. He still tells anyone who'll listen that it was an accident, that he loved her. Emily's mother visits her grave every Sunday. She leaves crossword puzzles, her daughter's favorite, folded under the stone. And the hospital. They hired a new cardiologist. Life moves on. But in the quiet moments when the rain taps against the windows and the house is too still, you can almost hear the echo of a voice whispering, "It didn't have to end this way."